When I played through Terraria 1.2, most of my thoughts were, this part sucks, this mechanic is annoying, this thing could have been better, why is Golem in the game? So when I decided to revisit 1.0 Terraria, I was expecting an even more frustrating experience. But surprisingly, I actually enjoyed this version a lot more than 1.2, and I had a great time overall. There are a few reasons I really liked this version of Terraria, but I think the biggest one, or one of the biggest ones, is actually the lack of content. This version doesn't have hard mode. The only bosses are King Slime, Eye of Cthulhu, Eater of Worlds, and Skeletron. There are significantly less NPCs and accessories and armor sets. All of this sounds like it would make the game worse, but in many ways it actually makes it better. Simplicity. This is the strength of 1.0 Terraria. It's not trying to blow your mind or anything. It's a small, dense, and fun sandbox with a few boss fights to make progress. Whenever I start up a Terraria playthrough in modern Terraria, I feel this big sense of commitment. Once I put some time into a world and character, I feel like I need to see it all the way to the end and tick all those boxes. But of course, this is barely a thing at all in 1.0 Terraria. You don't need to commit to anything, since all of the major accomplishments can be reached in just a few hours, and they don't really feel that important anyway. The closest thing to beating this game in this version is defeating Skeletron. That's crazy. Simplicity in general can make games easier to approach. I still enjoy 1.8 Minecraft more than any new version of the game, and I'm sure some of that is nostalgia, but a lot of that is truly that the simplicity of an experience like 1.8 Minecraft is more relaxing. And the same thing goes for 1.0 Terraria. You can turn off your brain, there's less to worry about. In modern Terraria, I am constantly stressing out every time I enter hard mode. Which weapons am I gonna go for? Which mechanical boss fights do I go for first? How am I gonna deal with biomes spread, and why is my jungle corrupted already? In 1.0 Terraria, on the other hand, there's really nothing to worry about, and it's great. I am positive that having less content like this already makes 1.0 Terraria way less replayable. I would probably be bored out of my mind even going through it for a second or third time, but for a one-time experience, just seeing what it's like, the lack of content and overall simplicity in 1.0 actually has a lot of benefits. There is another reason that I really enjoyed 1.0 Terraria though. Atmosphere. There is no denying that this version of the game has its own completely unique mood. The dark, choppy lighting, the empty skies in the background, even the few songs that you hear throughout the game, all of these things lead to a completely different atmosphere from the Terraria we have today. This version of the game feels more isolated, like you're truly in an alien universe exploring the unknown and finding new accessories. In a way, it feels darker and more threatening. Terraria now is clearly a much brighter and happier game than it was back then. The new backgrounds give the world more life, most of the music is more uplifting, and the overall vibe of the game has completely shifted. There's something so appealing about 1.0 Terraria's darker, more ambient and isolated atmosphere. This appeal isn't even really exclusive to old Terraria either. Subnautica, Breath of the Wild, the Metroid games, Journey, Dark Souls. Some of the best and most interesting games ever made are the ones with those secluded and darker atmospheres, because they immerse you into the world instantly. This is the one thing that I think truly makes 1.0 Terraria special, and it's why I didn't really like 1.2 at all in comparison. 1.2 was sort of the point where Terraria had already lost that ambience and simplicity, yet it didn't have all the amazing content and balancing of modern Terraria. It was basically the worst of both worlds. While I actually loved my experience with 1.2 Terraria, I would be an idiot and a moron and a stupid person if I didn't mention that it still has a lot of issues. The game is very poorly optimized, leading to a lot of weird frame rate issues for no reason. Cave generation is an absolute disaster, and trying to get that early game loot like iron or gold is super grindy because of it. Enemy spawn rates are out of control, and sometimes you'll get swarmed and just die, much worse than in Terraria now. You take damage every time you simply walk past a cactus. The Eater of Worlds is straight up broken and doesn't even despawn even after you, the player, dies. And worst of all, there's no Terra Toilet. Terraria has had so many improvements over the years, and I would be lying if I said that 1.0 was anywhere close in terms of quality to what we have today. With that being said, it was still a really good experience, and it is much better than 1.2 by a long shot. And that's what I think about 1.0 Terraria. For more fun discussions about Terraria, make sure to subscribe to the channel. I'm trying to reach 2K, and I would really appreciate your help. And that's about it. I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.